My name is Wayne, and in the late 90s, my childhood was filled with Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, GoldenEye on the N64, and Perfect Dark. Football with my brother in the snow and ATV riding in the backwoods of Fredericksburg, Virginia. I reflect on my childhood often, as most of us do. I like to think my mind makes up all the good times and reminisces on occasion of the innocent life I lived as a child at 8 years of age. But why do I mainly focus on the memories I had at 8 years old? Surely there are plenty other years I can reflect on that were just as great. See, I lived in many different areas as a kid, from West Coast to East Coast, and people ask, where do I call home? I really don't know, honestly. However, these places I've lived and the different people I've met, either through school or around the neighborhood, has really shaped up who I am today. From the great memories of recess with my friends, to the nervous memories of me trying to find what group to sit by in the cafeteria on my first day of school at a new school. Ultimately, everything had always turned out fine, but I needed that balance between fear and familiarity. I would say confidence, but the only confidence I had in elementary school was catching a football outside during recess, and maybe doing some presentations in class like show and tell. However, if you add in a math class, well, all goes to hell. But my least favorite subject would eventually come to an end. But my true horror, my true fear of the unknown, of the uncanny, was something much more detrimental. My friend Matt had a brother. His brother was much younger than us, about 4 years younger, I believe. Matt had invited me over to his house, along with a number of other classmates we hung out with. This was going to be for Matt's little brother's birthday. Inviting all of us was a way to make the birthday party a bit larger, and the most obvious reason, to get a lot of the moms together to drink wine like water and gossip about, well, whatever moms gossip about. My friend Matt didn't live too far away. Now keep in mind where I lived in Fredericksburg was a rural area, so a 20-minute drive wasn't really too far for us. We arrive at Matt's house, and unlike my backyard that mainly consisted of heavy, thick woods, Matt's backyard was a set of rolling hills with another house about a quarter of the mile to the left as you look out at the backyard. The house on the left had somewhat heavy, thick tree line surrounding it, with the house peering through a break in the trees due to the access of the gravel driveway. According to Matt, those that lived in that house was an elderly couple, whom he barely saw. All he remembered about the man was that he had a hunch. And that's when Matt started talking in an old man's voice and walking like an old man, at which point we started a little keep-away game and tossed a football shouting, "Keep it away from the old man," and Matt was making his way hunched over to one side, only to turn around and start making his way back to the other side, trying to intercept the football. As 8 years old, it was hilarious. As the autumn sun started to set, the rolling hills and the tree line covering the house to the left contrasted very well. It was a beautiful sight that Virginia had to offer. Plenty of rain in the past few days to make the grass almost appear as an illuminating light of vibrant green. As all of us kids were playing in the backyard, Matt's mom hollered out upon the deck, "Everyone get ready, the clown will be coming here soon to bring some presents for the birthday boy." I murmured over to Matt, "Really? This is a bit childish. A clown?" Now, I know it's Matt's little brother's birthday, but we could be fine without a clown. It's a bit cliche. Time had passed, and I remember some of the parents stepping out looking around again to see if the clown had made its way into the backyard without going through the front door. After all, there was no fence separating the front yard to the backyard. Perhaps this clown didn't want to risk going through a house, bumping into everything with its oversized feet. Or maybe he would be too embarrassed to be seen first by grown adults inside the house. Well, I guess the good thing if you're going to be a clown is that if you're embarrassed, you can't be seen blushing through the typical white makeup on a clown. Anyways, all I can remember is more moments passed. Not a very punctual clown. Matt's mom came out again, but this time she had a cake. Candles were lit on the cake. Well, all 4 candles for Matt's little brother. And all of us then gathered around. Matt's mom started singing happy birthday, and that's when the rest of us chimed in. As we were in the middle of singing, a saturation of bright red, white, and yellow colors took my attention away from the cake. I look over towards the house that was on the left. At first, my gaze made my eyes a bit blurry, but I remember I focused in on the figure I saw, and I finally see, in broad daylight, a clown out in the distance, making his way through the heavy set of trees and finally stepping out of the tree line. He was staring at me as he moved closer, and in his left hand he gripped several balloons, all matching the color of his outfit. I couldn't take my eyes off of him. My eyes, for some reason, were stuck. My hearing starting to fade the song of Happy Birthday into the background to a point where I couldn't understand the words in the song. It seemed as though everything slowed down, except for this clown moving towards me. Now, it wasn't at a very fast pace. In fact, the clown had a bit of a hunch. I tried to say, "I think I see the clown," but no words came out. I walk out of the group of kids to get a better look, to see if I actually saw what I think I just saw. Just as I try to get a better look, and once I finally block the sun out of my eyes with my left hand, I see the clown's face. And then he disappears as he made his way down a hill, in which the bottom wasn't visible to where I was standing. And when terrain like this blocks your view at the bottom of a hill, this is called dead space. I never thought of dead space consisting of a clown at the bottom. I walk back to the group of friends and I say out loud, "So, I think the clown is coming," and I pointed out to where I last saw him. Matt laughs. "Did he get the wrong house or something?" Matt shouted. Matt's mom looks over, to which point I see the look on her face. A look of disgust. I look over to where she's looking, and there is this clown standing there with a hunch, a slight grin on his face. His face painted, but there was something off about this clown. The ambiguity of not knowing. Is this a threat, or a clown about to put on a funny performance? The clown started walking over, again with a hunch, but this time he started to laugh, and the laugh seemed to mix with sorrow and psycho all in one. The clown got to what I would say about 15 feet from me. At this range, I noticed the red paint around his mouth had faded, and it was so uneven, as if he ran out of red paint. In fact, it reminded me of when I have an occasional nosebleed, and the blood from my nose would fade into my skin as I would wipe it away with my finger. And that's when I had a clue. Could this have been blood? Blood around his mouth? Matt's little brother's friends run away, screaming, and I could see Matt's brother make his way to the right side of the house. And that's when the clown darts his focus over to Matt's little brother.
"Where's the birthday boy going?"
the clown shouted. And the clown started making his way in the direction of Matt's brother. He was chasing him. Matt grabs me. "Come on, dude, let's go." And he pulls me to the opposite direction, nearing the left side of the house. As I was running, I hear someone charge down the wooden deck set of stairs. It's one of the kids' dads running down. And I see this father charge towards the clown. At which point, my vision of the backyard is masked by the house. I hear a scream, most likely from the clown. The scream hollered amongst the rolling hills. Seconds later, I hear a pop. A gun? No, must have been a balloon that the clown might have fell on. And seconds later, I see a few balloons float past the roof of the house, off into the evening sky. as if to carry a soul away. My mom rushed out of the front door to meet me and Matt. She hugged us close and called over Matt's younger brother and his friends. Moments later, Matt's mom comes out, although she had paper towels folded together, pressed against her forearm. I could see blood exposing its way through the paper towels. I look at my mom, making sure she's all right. She was. Thank God, I thought to myself. She kept us in a group, and I could hear a phone dialing, most likely for the police. A few more mothers and fathers come out of the front door. Another father rushed from the front yard towards the backyard, probably confused on what's going on, only to eventually finding out that help was needed to deal with the killer clown in the backyard. Time had passed, and the only thing I heard echo amongst the hills were the police sirens at this point. The police came first, and then later an ambulance. Parents directed the police to the backyard, and officers rushed in. More time had passed. We maintained the same spot in the front yard, not taking a single step forward, but thinking of taking many steps back. Eventually, after some parents talked to the police, me and my mom went home. I didn't say anything in the car. Neither did my mom. The 20-minute long ride home seemed like hours from what I remember. I've kept in touch with Matt till this day. I know I mention his brother a lot too. But don't forget, I said Matt had a brother. I had moved to Portland, Oregon after I graduated college in Virginia. But a few years ago, I was in Fredericksburg, visiting Matt and a previous girlfriend of mine. Me and Matt were set out to grab a bite to eat. But first, he wanted to visit his brother's grave. As we made our way to the cemetery and stood by his brother's grave, I was so close to asking what had happened. But that's when Matt told me he had committed suicide a year ago. Matt didn't spend too long there at the gravesite. He just murmured something under his breath, directed towards his brother who laid resting. I couldn't make out what he said, but it wasn't intended for me to hear anyways. Matt started walking away. I don't think he noticed. In fact, I almost didn't either. But off to the left corner of the tombstone, the letters and the word J.W. Gacy was etched in. There are some things you just wish you didn't understand. As we made our way back to the car, I saw something in the corner of my eye, about a quarter of a mile amongst all the other tombstones. Bright red, white, and yellow balloons attached to a tombstone.